Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to This Life, a podcast by Mayorca Media. I'm your host, Felix Mayorca. Thank you so much for joining me once again. We're here at the Local Hub Studios, as always. Big shout out to Local Hub for being our sponsor, and an even bigger shout out to Picnicked for being our second sponsor. More from them later. Today, I am sitting with
Ruth Romero.
There you go. All right, stepping in. Ruth, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm great. How are you feeling right now?
I'm just a little nervous, obviously. This is my first time ever being interviewed.
I love it. See, this is kind of why I've started This Life, and I've talked about this before, but I want normal people to feel like they're being heard, and I mean quote unquote normal people, because all we see on TV is like famous people,
polished.
Polished. The point of This Life is for everyday people. So that sounds better than normal people.
Yeah,
everyday people to feel like they're being heard and they're important, because we all are important, and sometimes we get lost in that. So tell everyone a little bit about how we met and what you do here at Local Hub, because we met here. Yeah.
So, how we met was just basically, did we meet at what was it? I feel like we were drinking.
So shout out to Local Hub,
yes,
co-working space. Yeah. So they have happy hours here, which is so dope. You get to sit down and network with people, meet people. For those of you laymen, networking means talking to people, meeting people. So yeah, we were at a happy hour. Yeah.
And so I work with New Vintage Church, and I'm director of events. And so basically we bought the theater just a couple doors away from here, and we just renovated it seriously from the cement ground floor to the rooftop. And the next door we demolished a building and put 3 levels. So on the bottom level is a coffee shop called Manzanita, and then there's studios to rent out. And it's more of like a community based for the studios. It just depends. We're looking for performing art theater groups, things like that. And then on the second level, we call it the Black Box, but it's really just a big loft. It's 2,300 square foot, so it could be for any type of event that a person wants to go ahead and rent out. And then
like a wedding or anything?
Anything, yes.
And if you need a photographer or videographer, Mayorca Media. Anyway,
yes,
go ahead.
Exactly. And then on the third level, it's absolutely spectacular. It's going to be a rooftop lounge. Eventually we're going to have a vendor that's going to be full time. That's going to be a full bar with cold tapas, as well as live music on the weekends. And you're just bringing some life onto Grand that we just don't really have quite yet. And people are thirsty for it.
Yeah, big time. So being from Escondido, that theater has been just, excuse my language, has been just a piece of shit for as long as I can remember. And I've heard like ghost stories and stuff from it. I don't know if you guys have heard those, where it lit on fire from like the middle or something. And there's all these crazy stories about Grand.
It's interesting enough because there is one, fire that did occur. But then the construction, one of the foremen was telling me that they discovered another burnt brick area that it's never been recorded. So we have no idea. So we're always curious, what's this second fire? It wasn't due to the first fire.
That's crazy. Yeah. So it's good that a church is going to be there, because get all the demons out.
Well, yeah. No, but also within the theater, I am the one that's going to be booking concerts. So it's not just church based. It's going to be for the community base. It's going to be all different types of genre music.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, if you have a chance if you live in Escondido and you have a chance to, even if you don't actually, if you have a chance to go by there, it's on Grand and Juniper. Are you guys calling it the Grand?
So the Grand, it's called the Grand, but the theater is called the Ritz Theater.
The Ritz Theater. It's right next to Burger Bench, which everyone who listens knows. That's my spot. Love it. Sponsor me. Yeah, I always get really excited about things that are happening in the community because I am from here and I'm born and raised, and I work with Iconic, which is down the street from there. I work here, thank God. And yeah, it's awesome. Wow, that was really loud. So today what I want to kind of dive into with you is your mom. Do you like to call yourself an entrepreneur or a business owner?
Yeah, I would like to say I'm an entrepreneur for sure.
You're an entrepreneur. You're helping your church out with this. Is that a job or just a volunteer?
No, that's a job. That's my full-time job.
Okay.
Yeah, my boutique is like my side job. So
just all around superhero, mom, business owner, full-time job person, and anything else you can name. How old are your kids?
One's about to be 19 in a couple of weeks.
Dang. And
I have a 15-year-old son as well as my 8-year-old daughter.
So I actually met the 8-year-old. And I think this is a great segue to what I want to talk about. She is very her own person. And I remember sitting with her. I worked with kids before, so I'm not like, some weirdo. But every time I see I love kids. Like, there's just so much going on in their head. And I'm always like, what are they tinging? So I went up to your daughter and I was like, hi, my name's Felix. And she introduced herself. And I was like, what grade are you in? She told me what grade she was in. And I was like, what's going to happen with school this year? Are you excited? And she was like, meh. And I was like, is it online or is it in person? She's like, I don't know. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, are you excited to be back? She's like, looks at me like very sincere and goes, I don't really care about school. And honestly, my first reaction was like, well, you have to. But then I was just kind of like I just started laughing. So then I told you that, and you were very much like, oh yeah, she hates school and she's gonna be an actress, because that's what she told me.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So I'm the type of person that I do believe in going to college. And it's weird. I'm the first out of my generation, and I'm the only one that has kids and got married. And I had my first son at 19.
Wow. And you went to college?
Yeah. And I was determined. I know it may not mean to people, but to me it does, to break all the statistics, you know? And so it took time, but I did it. And I wanted to set an example for my kids. Just there's nothing that should ever get in your way of your goals. So her goals are different than mine. And I came to realize with her is just that acting, arts is just so strong in her. And it's been like that since I can remember. And she has it in her genes. Her dad's a very famous third generation Spanish classical guitarist. And then his mom is a childhood actress. She worked with Kirk Douglas. She worked with, I can't even remember her name, but she's the lady with Mommy Dearest. Like, no wire hangers. Oh, I can't remember. But she's worked with very famous people. And then her brother had his own show called The Real McCoy. He was Michael on The Real McCoy. So it's just, it's in them.
It's in her blood.
Yeah. And interesting enough, as a child, I wasn't as, like carefree like her, but also dancing and performing that's my passion. But I was raised, they said, my parents were like, you're not going to make any money that way. So I was like, okay. And so I went another way. So I don't want to do that to her. She's going to be broke, let's say, for the rest of her life, but she's extremely happy. Then who cares?
Yeah.
I want her to be happy.
Wow.
I don't want the what ifs. That was me. The what ifs.
Yeah.
Even though I did accomplish something big, but that wasn't my first true goal in life.
Right.
So
yeah, crazy enough, we were talking about this before the podcast. I was living in the what ifs, and I was very like, I need a full-time job because that's what makes you successful. But I love doing film and shooting photos, and I love all this stuff. But that's a dream. And whenever I would have like a breakdown, like during COVID when I lost all my business, I was like, I'm gonna sell all my stuff. Like, I can't do this. This cannot happen. It's gonna happen again. And oh my God. Oh. But like now I look back and I'm like, you fool. But how did you, when did that when did that mindset change for you along the way when you were like, oh, maybe I could have changed some stuff, or maybe this isn't really the way?
Interesting enough, I have a brother that's 8 years younger than me who ended up moving in with me when he was 15. And is that strong?
That's messy. But it is a little strong. Oh, wow.
And he's a very artsy individual himself. And so during that time, I'm like, hey, Benjamin, you need to do good in school. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I was just noticing that I was just fighting with a brick wall. Like, what's the point? And everybody has their own different paths and their own ways. And now he's 30. He has a second location. He has 2 vintage stores, one in Newport and then one in Hollywood on Hollywood Boulevard. And he's doing really well. And then on the side, because he just loves doing it, he's a barber at one of the oldest barbershops in Hollywood. It is absolutely spectacular. Sweeney Todd Barbershop. I have to make a shout out because even Mr. Sweeney, seriously, you walk in there and it's like walking in the back, like it's a time capsule.
Really?
Yeah, and he did it right. Like he didn't change anything. Whatever he did add, it was from that time era. Wow. So it's just, and his marketing, everything, it's just amazing. Yeah. So my brother loves that too, and he's doing really well. And within time, it's always God's timing, and God has a plan. And I saw that with my older brother. So I was like, well, I don't want to make the same. I kind of made mistakes with my younger brother, Benjamin. Right. So I don't want to do that to my kids.
So you were kind of like a mom to Benjamin.
Yeah.
Or did you put yourself in that role?
No, I had no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my mom had left us when he was 3. And I felt like I had to. Maybe I didn't have to, but we didn't have any other older women figure. Mm-hmm. So it was just an automatic thing. And not only that, like when he was born, it was really weird. It was just like, he's my baby, He was just like everything to me.
There's a lot of sisters that are like that.
Yeah. And we're still really close. So
what his stores are what?
The one in at Newport is called Swelligant.
Swelligant.
Yeah.
Like swell and elegant.
Yeah. And the other one in Hollywood is called Star Days.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right off of Hollywood Boulevard. Right. He was funny because when he got the lease for that space, he's like, you never guess where, we're getting the lease. I'm like, where? He's like, where you used to drag me when I was younger. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, American Apparel. So they took over the first American Apparel store.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So I was like laughing because I remember he would just sit in a corner and be like, he was he was the kid, I hate being in here. And now he's in there and he lives there basically.
That's so funny. And they sell like that vintage kind of clothing too?
Yes. Right? They actually, a lot of when Hollywood was open, they would go rent for them because his fiance they just have this eye of real authenticity clothing.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. She could literally go to you and be like, oh yeah, that's from 1955 because of the stitching and they did this type of, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, all my clothes are from China. So, man, that's insane. So then when did that kind of, when you saw him do the things that he loved, mm-hmm. did that change your mind, or was it earlier, or when did kind of?
Yeah, the things that he loved. Yeah, it changed my mind.
Okay. So that's how you're raising your kids?
Yeah.
What are the 2 others doing, or what do they love to do?
So my oldest, he's just about to graduate, and I don't know what he's going to do, and my heart, and I know he doesn't see it, and I don't really express it, but for some reason, something's going to tell me he's going to do something with art and ministry.
Okay.
Yeah. He's very sensitive. He's very different. I call him my rainbow child. He just has something that's just amazing. Elijah is just a very strong-willed individual, and no one can tell him what to do.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to fight that battle. Whatever he does, he'll do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then what about the younger boy?
So Joaquin,
Is he the soccer player?
yeah, that's the soccer player. He is a very like my Yoda. That's my Yoda, and just a wise, smart, good head on his shoulders.
Old soul.
Old soul, yeah, and he keeps on going back and forth, either a pediatrician or a dentist, but his passion is soccer. It's been soccer. He's been to Austria. They love him there, in Vienna at their youth academy, and then also in Malaga too, as well, in Spain at their youth academy. But the only thing what keeps him here is that one parent has to move in Europe. I wouldn't mind doing that, but
On my way.
Malaga is a fun city, that's for sure.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's his path. That's what he would like to do, and whatever, it's whatever. I know he'll do something great. I know all my kids will, whatever it may be. I always say to them, if you want to be a janitor, be the best janitor you can be. Don't ever settle to be the, just be the best.
Yeah, you're gonna make me cry. I'm pretty sensitive myself. Man, that's dude. That. I mean, sorry to call you dude, but
Yeah, it's okay.
that gives me chills. That's awesome. When they were kids, did you throw them into different sports and different activities, or did you let them choose? Mm-hmm. Because I mean, when I was a kid, I liked different things at different times, and I got bored of them. Mm-hmm. And I have a very short attention span. Before Instagram and all that, I was the kid that just couldn't really focus, and I'm sure someone would diagnose me with something. But were they like that when they grew up, or did you just say, "What do you want to do?" So
with Elijah, I tried putting him in sports. It's just comedy. He didn't like anybody touching him. Sorry.
Oh no!
Because I remember he was on the soccer field and be like, he touched me like at 4, and I'm like, I just knew he was always artsy.
Okay.
And he would drum since he was 2. He was just always. I knew he was going to be a drummer. Okay. So he drew pictures all the time, but very detailed. I'm like, gosh, you took the time. I remember thinking at 3, like, I don't even have the patience to do that.
That's awesome.
And so art, like, I just did whatever he wanted to do. I got him drum set. He has, guitars, basses, like everything. So for him to, whatever he plays, he picks up, and he does really well. Man. And then Joaquin, we put him in soccer, and I remember he was 4 years old when he made that first goal. That was it. That kid would do 5 to at least 8 goals per game at 4.
Wow.
And he was just
a stud.
Yeah, it was just on. He was just, and then all of a sudden, like, we're like, okay, you got to learn how to do both feet. I didn't know much about soccer. It was my ex-husband. He was actually really good at soccer, and he's a righty and a lefty. So I think that's what helps him too.
So cool. Mm-hmm. What about the little one?
She was just automatic. It was just singing and dancing. That girl will put on a show ever since I can remember. And she's still that way. I mean, I would think by now she would be a little bit more shy to do things in public, but she doesn't care.
Didn't seem like it.
No.
When I was talking to her.
She actually does, she helps put an input. Her aunt is in music, and they actually ask her for advice, and they'll listen to her. Yeah, because she's really on point. I'm like, wow, you kind of make me feel small.
That's cool. I mean, not that you feel small, but
no, but yeah.
She's a beast. We're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back. Picnicked. Picnicked is a small Latina-owned picnic business. Annalie, the owner, has a huge love for art and event planning. She thrives in creating tranquil spaces for others to experience intimate and sweet memories with friends, family, or significant others. She is passionate about what she does and takes pride in designing the perfect oasis. You can book through Instagram at picnicked_, which is spelled PICNICKED_. Choose Picnicked for your next birthday, anniversary, or even just because you deserve to treat yourself. You will not be disappointed. And even better, she's offering 10% off if you mention ThisLife when booking Picnicked for the months of October and November. This is a no-brainer. If you're looking for a date night, if you're looking to surprise somebody, or if you're looking to just have maybe a girls' night, at an amazing location, obviously, because we live in San Diego, Annalie and her team set up the picnic for you. And it's not just a basket and some like a plaid sheet that you sit on. It's pretty fancy stuff. She has different packages. She has different add-ons. For example, if you're trying to spice up that gram, just make sure you tag her. She has that as well. So again, their Instagram is at picnicked, PICNICKED_. And if you mention ThisLife, you get 10% off your booking for the months of October and November. Back to the show.
First of all, we have to say cheers.
Oh, that's right. Cheers. Here we go. We already drank out of it. Isn't that bad luck? Whatever. So we're actually drinking some of The Rock. Shout out to The Rock. Sponsor me. I'm giving everyone free pub, and I'm not getting anything back. We're drinking some Terramana tequila with Topo Chico. That's the grapefruit one?
That's yummy.
Super bomb. And then there's these like little rim. Did you like it?
I love it.
It's pretty bomb, right?
Yeah.
People put them in like White Claws and stuff. Have you ever had a White Claw?
Ooh, yeah, I haven't, but I like the Trulies better. To be honest with you, I'd rather just make myself vodka soda water and put a splash of whatever flavor I want and call it a day.
One of those little Mios?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So you mentioned your ex-husband earlier. Obviously, you've been through a divorce. What was that like for you guys?
It was a very challenging, like in the sense of me initiating it. It was me that separated it.
Oh.
Yeah. He's 15 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
And so I grew up and he didn't. It's not like if he's a bad person. It's just he just didn't grow up. And I prayed for years. And I said, God, either please heal my heart or open the pathway for me to go ahead and move out and do what I need to do to make myself happy.
Yeah.
And so everything just was lined up too perfectly, and I did. And it was hard because, he's still a friend.
Right.
It sounds weird, but...
Well, you still have that connection with that other person. It's
yeah. I don't hate him. He's still a friend and I love him dearly, but I wanted to be happy too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's caused, consequences. My happiness has caused my kids' unhappiness, and that breaks my heart.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things, I think. I had the friends whose parents stay together for the kids, and that's a Blink-182 song. Mm-hmm. And they, they wouldn't even, because I'm not even saying anything. Kids, this is such a crazy dilemma in the world because parents are allowed to be happy. Mm-hmm. You're allowed to be happy, but sometimes it's at the expense of the kids. And when I was working with kids, I would meet kids that were like, oh yeah, mommy and daddy sleep in a different room.
Yeah, that's sad.
And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I don't want that.
And then they just spill their guts and they're like, yeah, the other day my mommy and daddy were fighting and my dad went to his room. And I was like, his room? Yeah, he has his own room. He says the bed's not big enough. And I'm like,
yeah.
anyway, let's talk about Legos or something like that. And like, you have to just kind of move on, but then it stays in the back of your head and you're like, did you see any change in your kids towards you or towards your ex?
Well, they resented, I think in the beginning, me, because they didn't understand, you know, I'm not going to spill the beans of why I really going to leave your dad. And so, it took a minute, and for sure my son did come around and my daughter, they both, you know, they started to realize why, you know, and why I did leave. And it's kind of weird because my ex-husband and I like are good as friends, but if we go more than that, like there is some violency, not like, but not, you know what I mean? It just gets messy.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just not myself, you know? And then that was when I was like, okay, we just have to keep certain things separate.
Yeah. And
now I feel like, cause right now my son and I are dealing with some things and he's been like the mediator, and I really am grateful for him that I could talk to him.
The 15-year-old?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really grateful.
When did it click that you just weren't happy in your marriage? Because that's always something that I question. Like, if I get married, and obviously I'm not going to know right away because I'm like, oh my God, this is my wife and stuff. And then as time goes on, am I going to know, or am I going to fool myself? So
to be honest with you, I was really young. I was 21 when I met him. And then we kind of got purposely pregnant. I was like, I look back then and I'm like, you're an idiot. Not because of having my kid, it's just the decision making.
You're like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah. And by the time I kind of saw and realized things that like, no, you should have ran away, I was already 6 months pregnant.
Oh boy.
And so I wanted to marry him in the beginning because that's what you're supposed to do, right? Mm-hmm. And religion really puts it, even though I am religious, but they kind of push it. And I felt like I had to do it for my kids. And so let's rewind this. My 19-year-old, soon-to-be 19-year-old, is not from my husband. He's from my high school sweetheart. Okay. So I was like, okay.
That's the one you had at 19? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, here I am, the second, you know, baby daddy kind of situation. Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's just do this. And I, believe it or not, when my dad passed and a year later I got married, and this is when I would turn 25, I didn't want to do it. I just set everything in my heart and my soul. I ran away from like the altar basically before I walked. Wow. And someone in his family said, do it for the kids. And that was it. You put the kids in the mix, you know, that just really tore at my heartstrings. So I did it. And his friendship is a blessing, but I wouldn't remarry. Like if I was to do it again, I wouldn't marry him. I think I would have just continued to have I wouldn't have stayed with him. I would have done things different. Right. But then it's hard to say that because then I wouldn't have my little Valentina.
Right. And you wouldn't have been where you are now.
Yeah. So,
life is tricky.
So what it was just like, what got to me the most was there was this one point when I have a stepsister who is literally 2 weeks younger than me. And I was 33. She was 33. And she got diagnosed with breast cancer that really took her. Yeah. It took her so fast. And I remember when she was on her deathbed and fighting for her life, I looked at her and I said, wow, if that was me and I left this world, I wouldn't be happy. I wasn't happy inside. And just to think that I would leave this world sad, that like kind of bothered me a lot. Yeah. And I just had to leave him after that. I was like, I have to be happy too.
Yeah. Hey, that's life.
Yeah.
Life just, I think there are those moments that, and unfortunately they need to happen, or those, if you wouldn't have found out then, I'm sure you would have found out later, but who knows what would have happened later. I mean, I'm sorry about your stepsister. Mental health wise, when you were with him, how did that take a toll on your mental health?
It was a real roller coaster.
Because you said you weren't yourself, and you noticed that.
No, I really wasn't myself when, the one thing that I could say is he was super, and this is a fact. I mean, I'm not saying like, there's like he and she said, this is a fact. He would call me like 15 times a day when he was like on tour.
Wow.
Or when he was at home, I would go, let's say if I go to Target or something like that, and call me like at least 2 times before I even enter the store. What are you doing? Where are you going? And it was just like, he was super possessive too and controlling. And that led me to be can I say the word?
Yeah, bitch.
Okay. Led me to be the biggest bitch in the world. And that's really not my personality.
Right.
And I really love to care and to love. And I was noticing, I was like, F you. And like, it's just like, I didn't like that. And I noticed when I was not in the moment of things. So like one time I remember he called me and I'm like, what? And he bugged me. Like he got on my nerves. And I remember I was going down the stairs and I just plummeted down the stairs because I tripped, because I don't even remember even walking to the stairs.
Yeah.
Cause you go on this other world because they're just mind effing you, basically.
Yeah.
And that's due to his own insecurities. It wasn't because of me, and he knew that, and and it's just, he had his own upbringing that he saw, that he thought that other women would do, even though the women in his life didn't do it. It was the men in his life that were the ones that would cheat on their spouses. Right. And so it was just from that, and I get that. But it was too much. Yeah. And me constantly having to worry about certain things when he didn't. And it was just like, I gotta move on. Yeah. I'm tired.
I mean, that's big of you, obviously, because you have kids, but also I think there's a lesson to be had that, and I always say this, that you should interact with people in a positive way, even if they're being like a shitty person. Mm-hmm. For example, this weekend, and actually I was thinking about it after I left, and yesterday, this weekend, I went with some friends to a restaurant, and the server, it seemed like he wasn't really doing his job. And I was already hangry. I get really hangry. I'm such a bitch when I'm hangry. I'm just like, oh my God, where's the water? But like, it started off with us asking for some mimosas and then the water, and it didn't come. And then we're like, we're ready, man. And he was like, actually, when we first ordered the mimosas, we're like, hey, we're actually ready because we've been waiting for like 10 minutes. And he was like, let me put the order in for the mimosas. I'll be right back. Didn't come back. Mm-hmm. And that I was just kind of like, and I was with people that I didn't really know. And then my one friend that I didn't know, and he came back and he was like, okay, we're ready. What do you want? What do you want to order? So I ordered a thing I didn't even want because I was already upset. So then I was like, can we get some fries just, in the beginning so we can get started? He's like, sure. Leaves, doesn't come back for like 20, 30 minutes. And I'm just like I don't like to be that person. But anyway, I was kind of like reacting to it, and people were thinking that I was like kind of funny. And I was like, I was kind of half joking about it. But then I see him telling others, go get them the champagne, go grab the food. And like, he was coming out to take our order and like do all like the fluffy stuff, mm-hmm. but wasn't like putting in the work. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I got triggered because that's how it was. Unfortunately, that's how it was in city government. It was like one guy gets all the praise, one guy gets the tip, the rest does all the work.
Darling, that's just corporate.
Yeah, dude, fuck corporate America. And I was just like, this guy, and everyone was just like kind of hanging out and stuff. And I found myself just fixating on this guy. And this guy, and this, honestly, this dude was like really handsome and just kind of like looked like he was just very like, girls love him. I could tell. He had the defined jawline. Anyway, way too much info. And so I saw these two guys that were pretty much doing everything. The champagne guy, the gentleman was a busser, and he was bringing us our food, but also cleaning everything. And like, I kind of looked around, and I felt kind of alone, because I was like, oh, I'm not really being talked to, because I was being kind of an asshole. And I was just like, so I went over, I tipped the guys that were actually doing, you know, their jobs and going above and beyond. Tipped the guy, tipped the champagne guy, and I was like, thank you guys so much. I'm not going to say whether I tipped the other dude, but yeah, I found that energy to just kind of be my energy, the energy that dude was bringing me, and our interaction was negative, and then I gave it to, even in the smallest way, I gave it to everyone else. Yeah. And there was a point where we're all just kind of quiet, sitting there, and kind of like, or I was sitting there quietly, and I'm like, man, when it came to your relationship, your ex-husband's energy, that negativity changed your day. Yeah. And then after that, it changed other people's day. Yeah. And honestly, you made the right choice.
I think so.
It seems like.
Yeah.
How do you feel now?
Now I feel free, for sure. You know, it's the first time that, in a long time I can just do me and be me, and not having, so are you going to drink that? Yeah. Are you really going to drink that?
Yeah.
Why are you going to drink that?
Oh.
You know, that's, and I didn't like that. Like, excuse me, I feel like I want to have a drink. Let me have a drink. Like,
I was like, oh yeah, you threw me off.
Yeah, but it was just, you know, and that may sound small, but that just does add up.
That's not small. That's, ladies, if a guy is watching, and if it's malicious, if it's like, let's say Ruth showed up, was already drunk. I poured out some more tequila, and she was like, give me the whole fucking bottle. Then I'd be like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Let me try to steer it a different way. And
yeah, that's different.
Maybe pour some water out and be like, yeah, chug this. Yeah. But if you have one margarita and they're like, oh, you're going to drink? And they're monitoring what you're drinking. Or
eating
and I had this conversation during brunch when that asshole was being an asshole. My friend was like, yeah, this guy I was dating was older, and he was saying, you have a lot to learn from me. And you have,
Wow.
Yeah. And I would expose him because he's a dick, but I'm not going to. But yeah, I mean, my friend was just like, I hated it. And I hated being out with my friends and getting that call. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Oh, I'm out drinking. Oh, again? It's like, dude. And she doesn't even drink a lot.
Yeah.
It might just be 1 or 2 days when, you know, or maybe a week where she's like, oh, I went out twice this week or 3 times.
Or just because you go out doesn't mean that you're having more than one. You know, you can, you know, socially drink and just have one and that's it. And you just need to unwind.
And like, even if you do, then that's fine. Like,
yeah. Until it messes with your daily life, then there's a problem. But yeah.
Ladies,
don't allow any man to control you.
Exactly. And that little like picking apart of like,
yes,
why'd you say it like that?
Yeah, well, and then I would say to him, just because, you know, you're 15 years older than me, and you got the chance to, and I didn't even party when I was married to him at all. I actually drank way less than I did now. It just wasn't in me because I was a mom. Right. Right. Sometimes I want to go ahead and just be a little bit free. That doesn't make me a bad person. No. You got to do that in your 20s. I didn't. And I'm now, you know, being responsible for our kids.
Right.
So
yeah. He learned that kind of jealousy from his upbringing?
Yeah. The whole, yeah.
You don't have to go into detail.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. I was like, well, yeah.
You don't want to air out his dirty laundry. So you were a divorcee with how many kids?
3.
3. Mm-hmm. In your, how old were you?
When I got a divorce?
Yeah.
Is that sad I don't remember? I think it was 33. No, it was 33.
33.
Yeah.
So what's it like trying to get back out there? How long did you wait after?
I waited for a minute. Not that, long. I mean, I would just see and just to go out on dates. And then there's a period that I was like, do I have like, I want young men? Like, it was so weird. No, seriously, it was really weird. And it's just bizarre to me. If you're younger than my brother, then I just cannot,
How old's your brother?
He's 30.
Gentlemen, if you're over 30.
But
so were they approaching you?
Yeah. But it was interesting that they had more guts than the older gentleman. And so one time I did allow this one guy to take me out. He was barely 21, but he held himself so mature.
Right.
And
what's the guy you're telling me about the other day?
That went to Miami?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And him and I are still friends,
How did that even start?
I went to go to look for, I graduated college, got finally my BA, and I wanted to get myself my car. And he didn't sell me the car, but he was one of the salesmen, and he just started talking, and I didn't even know he was that young. And then he's like, hey, do you mind if I take you out on a date? And I'm like, yeah, no problem.
Wow.
I thought that was, if you were bold enough to ask me, I'm going to say yes, because you just never know. I'm not about a person with looks either.
Yeah.
Because that's not something I think you should judge a person on, because you never know if they could be something or they just can be a really good friend in the future.
Right.
And
wow. That's so mature. And before you keep going, I had a guest on here that was like, I'm pretty sure ugly people are all just going to be single forever.
That's not right.
And I was like, I don't think you want to be saying that.
Yeah, no, that's not right.
Not at all. Not at all.
That's really shallow.
Well, you know who you are. And other people that have listened.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
But so we went on 2 dates and always had him very mature. And then all of a sudden he said something that kind of like put him down. Like, how old are you?
Yeah.
And then he's like 21. I'm like, no, yeah, 21. And I was like, whoa.
And you were 30?
I was 30. I was 34.
Okay.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, it was a really good friendship. And, I guided him to go do his dream. Now he's successful where he's at. And it's not saying that I feel like I was supposed to be there at that time for him. Yeah. And he said certain things to me too that I kind of forgot about myself. So it was a good combination. I needed him and he needed me at that moment.
What did he go do, if you want to share?
He's actually an inspirational speaker in Miami. Like, he's doing really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's I don't know. He's had a really rough, I'm like, when he would tell me, and I'm like, and you're the way you are, and you would smile,
yeah, and
you're not a drug addict? Like, you know what I mean? It was just like...
Just a statistic.
Yeah, he's an amazing human being, so definitely... Yeah, getting back though in the game, like, I'm going to tell you, I didn't try the whole online dating. I was not about that. If it doesn't happen organically, then I need to be single.
Wow.
Yeah. I know that may sound, just that's who I am,
Yeah, everyone's different. I know people, and I used to I used to judge people who met each other online. Like, I'd be like, wow, you guys are just trying to hook up. And hold on. Sorry, my phone. Yeah, I was like, you're just trying to hook up. But then I met people who were getting married and who were engaged. And I was like, holy crap. And if you're still in this mindset of like, online dating's, not whatever, and like talk shit about it. Aziz Ansari, I don't know if you know who that is. He's a comedian.
Mm-hmm, no.
He released this book. It's a really good book. I don't remember it's called Modern Love. And he talks about like how people meet now and how our love languages are kind of different now and how it's easier to cancel on people because it's over text. It's like, hey, can't go, boom. Whereas before it'd be like, you'd have to call them and actually put in effort. But that's beside the point. Read the book, Modern Love, Aziz Ansari. He talks about, where was I going with this?
We were talking about dating, online dating.
Online dating.
Did the tequila already get to your head?
No, I'm sorry. I got really into the book and I was thinking like, what else did he say? Yeah, I told you someone would have diagnosed me like back as a kid. He talks about how online dating isn't bad. It's pretty much going to a bar with like a remote control and picking your options like, okay, this age range. All the people who are like, I don't know, 50 or something. Yeah. Gone. People who don't have a boyfriend. Boom. Or women who don't have a boyfriend. All those people are gone. And then from there you can kind of pick and choose. And like when you put it in that human sense, it makes it less like, because I thought it was scummy. But now I'm like, oh, people meet like all types of ways.
Yeah.
Where I want to keep kind of diving into this. Where have you like been approached?
I mean, obviously, bars, but not like in the sense that it's like sleazy, you know? It's kind of weird because I would always expect like, you know, before I was divorced, like, oh, people meet at bars. And even though I still have never been with anybody from a bar, I don't know. It's
where are you from? You come here a lot?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Here's a drink.
Yeah. Walking down the street.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, Ruth pulls, huh?
No, I don't like guys just naturally, if they come and I don't know, I'm not going to lie, they come, you know, and I'm not an ugly individual. So I'm not conceited, but I know I'm not ugly, you know, and so
that doesn't matter.
No, to guys, it totally does.
Oh, yeah. We're animals.
Yeah, you guys are.
Not going to lie, we're animals.
Yeah, just dating's interesting for sure. Yeah.
How do you, let's say, like, how far into the relationship do you say, or even if you have a relationship, you say, oh, wait, by the way, I have 3 kids?
I think pretty much right away. Actually, right away, like, if it's the first date, like, hey, this is who I am. And I'm not looking for a father. Like, you know, I'm looking for just my best friend, obviously someone who respects my children, and that's that. I mean, I take care of my kids, you know, and so it's not like I feel like it's different when you're trying to hunt, like when someone's trying to hunt, like I need someone to take care of me, versus I think there's a pro and a con in my situation that like I don't need you, you know. You
can weed them out easier.
Yeah. On to the next. And it's just different. Yeah. Because my 21-year-old was like, I think like I need to get married and I need, you know, and now like I always say I wasn't ever going to get married, but I think now that I'm 38, I feel like someday, but I'm not in any rush and it's going to be with that right person.
Right.
Yeah.
So before this, we were talking about, I asked you how your weekend was.
Yeah.
And you were like, and you talked a little bit about it before, but you were like, you know what? It sucked.
It sure did.
Honestly, I think more people have to, and this is, I think, how you make connections. I've talked about this before. Having language is very important, and having connections, real connections with people is important, because we're all so inclined to just be like, oh, I had a great weekend. Like, what, you know, what'd you do? Nothing, just chilled. But really, you sat under your covers and you cried all day because you have no idea why. And it's just like that. And then when you tell people that, I remember going to a job or a shoot over at Iconic, and I was like, one of the trainers was like, what's up? How you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just feel like crying today.
Did you really? I love it.
She was like, really? Why? I was like, I'm probably just overwhelmed or something. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out myself. And she was like, yeah, I'm really exhausted. I'm like, let's just have like a nap and cry sesh or something. And she like started laughing, and we just kind of laughed because obviously it's not a big deal. I was probably just overwhelmed and exhausted, and I felt like crying that day. We all have those days.
Yes.
And we wake up and we're like, oh my God, do I have to do this again?
Can I just say though, thank you for like you being a man saying that.
Yeah.
It's easier for women to do that, but men, not so much. And I don't look at you and thinking, oh God, this guy's a wimp. It's actually like, oh, you're more attractive.
What's up, ladies? I cry a lot.
No, but you know, it shows that you're human. That's, you know, and you're not trying to be this you're obviously, are you Hispanic? Felix Mayorca. So,
yes, obviously, yes.
So, and within our culture, a man's not supposed to cry.
Nope.
Suck it up.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy. My mom and I actually spoke about this the other day. Also, mama's boy. She was like, remember when you used to cry all the time? And we're kind of diving into some other stuff. In my other podcast, I talked about getting cornered by CPS and them like saying that my mom abused me and stuff, which wasn't true. Obviously, she spanked me a couple times, but it wasn't that. I never went to school scared or bruised or whatever. She's an amazing mother. And we're sitting there like talking, and she was like, yeah, all your cousins would always call you gay. And I was just a sensitive kid. Like my cousins, one time my uncle, I remember, was making some joke, and then, or someone was like, how are the girls? Are they chasing you yet? And I was like, huh, like I just kind of laughed. And he was like, or the boys? And that just got to me. I started crying. I went to the bathroom. I was like,
yeah.
And he felt like garbage because he would never make those jokes. And once he did, I was just like, I didn't expect it from him. So obviously I started crying. Like I was like, not gay. And like growing up hearing that, obviously being gay is not bad.
No, not at all.
I wasn't, because they would make it out to be something negative.
Yeah.
And I would always get, because I was like a sensitive kid and I would cry all the time. I don't know why I cried so much, but yeah, it's in our Hispanics are just, or used to be, or are, I don't really know anymore, but it was like a boy's crying, like,
yeah,
get that kid some, girls or something. And but
yeah, that's within the old school Hispanic culture. And I think now the generation is educated or just more adapted to the new culture and the new norm, and for all of that. So that's just what it was.
But I mean, going back to what we talked about earlier, see, I'm not drunk. I remember things.
Ask me. No, I'm joking. No, I'm just joking.
No, I think everyone should be open to being like, and I know there's times where you probably shouldn't do it, like, or just be so straight up like, how are you? My grandma died and I'm really sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just kind of like, I've had better days.
Yeah.
It's been better. Like, don't lie about, be transparent. Be transparent with each other. And you never know, that other person might have, just like Kaylee told me, she was like, yeah, I just feel really tired. And we're both burned out. Boom. There's a connection. We can both talk about that. That's it. Anyway, but going back to your weekend.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, just my 15-year-old, it's more, and he's a lot, him and I are like, we're twins.
Right.
Exactly, personality wise. Besides it's so funny. I call him El Rubio because he's blonde hair, blue eye, white kind of looking kid. And he's fully Hispanic.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But he definitely has my strong will, strong goal oriented personality. And this is where my fuck up moment as a parent, and kind of, he handled things the wrong way, which he's 15, and that's very expected. Yeah. And it has gotten to the point that I'm going to be raw. Okay. This is hard. Okay. But
no, you don't have to if you don't want to.
You know what? I was thinking about this. And this is before. Not everything is black and white, and not everything is normal, or so you have to just be real, because a lot of people, I don't know who's listening. Right.
Right.
And he had to go move in with grandma grandpa is very ex-FBI, very like kind of like, I just love he's my stepdad and I love him, and I know he'll put him in his place. And, my son did tell me that what I was doing that was kind of making him upset. And I stepped back and I was like, you know what? You're right. There's certain things that I do have to change. I do work way too much, and hence sometimes it's stressful. And I need to learn how to decompress better. And Also, like, he didn't like the guy that, you know, that I'm dating, and his every value reason. And now it's questioning if I shall be with this person or not. And, or, you know, and that's real. That's, you know, cause that's, my son's with me forever. And he had real reasons not to. It's not because I just don't like him.
Right.
But it got to the point that what my son did was too much. It was extreme amount of disrespect.
Okay.
That I was like, I'm here by myself. If you're disrespecting me this bad alone, and it was kind of scary, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
Then I just, until we can work on things and slowly maybe you come back and move in, but you're staying, you just have to stay with grandpa and grandma.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that ego, that man ego kind of got to him?
Oh, extreme.
Does he have that bad?
He is, yeah. So I just know Joaquin will definitely have that, whoever he marries, he's gonna treat her amazingly. He's the man.
Yeah.
I see it already. Whoever, when he becomes a father, he's going to become a good father. Like, it's just, he has that kind of that old school Hispanic, you know, kind of, and that's not his dad.
Yeah.
And that's when I need nature versus nurture type of situation. It's just in him.
So then the nature was kind of overcome by the nurture, and it kind of binded together.
Yeah. Cause his dad's not, to be honest, this is the part that I just don't respect his dad on. I was like, you need to grab him. Sometimes I feel like a mom can only do so much.
Right.
And at some point, it has to now be the father that needs to make him to be that man. And that's where I think he's at this point. When is it that I can speak and I can be a man versus like respect versus being disrespectful. And that's just not as a parent, but that's just as a human being, period. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yes, that's kind of, so the father just didn't step in that way. And he likes to be a friend more. And that's the part I'm like,
That's rough.
Yeah, that's the part I'm like, because I still have that old school Hispanic mentality, you know, even though I'm light on other ways, but still you respect.
You drizzle it on there.
Yeah, you need a respect.
Yeah.
So,
Big
but
time.
to lose him, like, I didn't lose him, but to have him go, so that was, I was in bed all day. I mean, from Friday night until like this morning, basically. Wow. And that's not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna lie, because it's just,
it's a little setback.
Yeah, that was hard. And Sunday we had a great talk yesterday, and it made me, okay, this is what I need to do, and he knew, okay, Mom, then this is what I need to do.
Okay.
So it's a good positive. We're in a good direction.
So did you approach him to talk, or did he approach you? Or did you both just kind of be like, look, we're going to talk on Sunday?
No, my ex-husband actually had to come down to get something for my daughter, because my daughter's with him this week.
Okay.
Right now, because of COVID, we kind of alternate weeks.
Okay.
So he brought him, and he kind of forced the situation, and we're both stubborn, Joaquin and I.
Oh yeah, you were just kind of like
basically
crossed arms, like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. But Joaquin just definitely just had a good way of he approached things this time. So, and he said, one thing that he said to me that made you need to be with my stepdad right now, is that Grandpa Eddie he's saying things that's making me realize I'm able to be more calm. What I did was wrong, and he's able to speak properly, and I'm grateful that I have my stepdad for him.
A good support system.
Mm-hmm.
Man, well, I feel like we can keep talking all day, but I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much for being raw and for sharing that with everyone. Obviously, no one has amazing days every single day. Mm-hmm. And I kind of blame social media a lot for this, because
Oh yeah.
That's all you see. You see the amazing days, and you see the days when everyone's just like, you know, but, and I mean, not that I'm saying like you should be crying on social media all the time and being like, my life sucks, but like, you know, there should be like a little medium.
Yeah.
Be open with other people. The reason I started this is so I could be open with my guests and my listeners. I put out this little 3-part series that I'll probably share with you of just my kind of depression and my I don't want to say journey or struggle, but just living with having depression and then going into therapy and hearing someone say, you're severely depressed and maybe medication will help, and then medication actually helping, and then dipping down again, because medication isn't a crutch that you should use. It's kind of like a supplement. So thank you so much for being on.
No, thank you for having me.
This was I'll probably have a good cry after this. I'm not gonna lie. Or I'll reflect a little bit. I mean, do you want to plug anything? Do you want to tell the viewers or the listeners anything that you have going on or anything?
Just, you know, let me say this though to parents.
Final thoughts. Here we go.
What I said to my son yesterday, and that's what like broke down a lot of barrier, is like, you got to remember that I'm human too. And I am truly sorry. And I think apologizing is something that a lot of parents don't do.
Yeah.
And when I saw his face after I said that, I was like, wow. Like it just, like 1,000 pounds just released out from him. So awesome. It's okay to say, hey, yeah, I did mess up, but I'm willing to go ahead and make things better.
I mean, yeah, I've had those come to Jesus moments with my parents, and I'm just like, whoa, like you're Rosa and Felix, you're not mom and dad.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful. Make sure you follow me on, I don't even know how to segue from this. Let's just end it right there. Follow me on Instagram at Mayorca Media. That's MAYORCA MEDIA. Find this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just type in Mayorca Media or ThisLife. That's one word, ThisLife. Ruth, thank you again.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I will see you all on the next episode. Bye.